proud members of the Fan First Sports Network. You had Vincent Shaver step up in the linebacker role and get his first start. Everybody saw he earned his black shirt last week. We saw in the game why.
I texted you during the game. I'm like, he's lucky he doesn't get an assault charge for some of those hits that he's getting on the quarterback.
He looked like a senior.
He looked like he was meant to be. Yep.
He co-led the team in tackles. 2 tackles for loss, got a sack, forced a fumble. Like, the dude just played out of his mind, and I think that's what we can expect out of the future with him.
Love it.
45, 40, 35, 40, he's gonna go! It's time, people, feel it!
Junkies.
Day by day, he gets better and better! He gets better and better! Team is If we die, we die!
Man is putting a child in that. Put him in the aisle.
Bring that trophy back to Lincoln!
There's no beer crack because it's early.
There's no beer crack because it's early and it's Sunday, and guess what? We have a winning season.
Hell yeah.
7-6 on the season, first time since 2015 with a winning record. We have a bowl win for the first time since 2015. The last 2 games we've just done a lot of getting monkeys off our back.
Yeah. Well, 3 games.
Yeah. Wisconsin, I apologize. Iowa is still on our back. We'll get that one next year. But I'm so sad that the season's over, but I'm also so excited about next season already that it's not even funny.
I'm more sad than I expected to see some of these guys go.
Yeah. I also feel like the right number of them had already left before the game.
I don't mean the ones with
little minute there in the fourth quarter where it was like, wow, they really do have a puncher's chance at getting back in this game.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, the boogeyman's back. But they staved him off. And luckily, despite the incompetence of our special teams,
oh my God,
we controlled that game. And the biggest surprise / not surprise, I think, was our ability to stop the run. One of the biggest questions that I sent you the list of questions that I felt like got answered in that game. Is the front seven going to be okay with the loss of the faces that we won't have in there for this game? It was a resounding yes. We held Boston College, who's only been held under 100 yards twice this year. Once was against us. Held them to 47 total yards on the ground. And the defense, like the rush defense, didn't look any different.
Well, some of those older guys were still in there.
No, they're still in there, but we're missing
Ty
major
Robinson
players
still had
too.
a fucking day. Like,
yeah, but we're missing our top tackler at linebacker.
Yeah,
and Jamari Butler. Like, it's not like we're not missing major guys, but at the same time, you had Vincent Shaver step up in the linebacker role and get his first start. Everybody saw he earned his black shirt last week. We saw in the game why.
I texted you during the game. I'm like, he's lucky he doesn't get an assault charge for some of those hits that he's getting on the quarterback.
He looked like a senior.
He looked like he was meant to be. Yep.
He co-led the team in tackles. 2 tackles for loss, got a sack, forced a fumble. Like, the dude just played out of his mind, and I think that's what we can expect out of the future with him.
Love it.
Jed's obviously not able to be here today, but he did send in some kind thoughts that started with the fucks that are criticizing the players and the fans. Actually, hold on. let me try and say this more like Jed. The fucks that are criticizing the players and the fans celebrating like they won the playoffs can fuck all the way the fuck off. I love the excitement of winning a football game. It's infectious. Amen.
Was that your Jed impression?
That's I kind of gave up halfway through.
That was rough. I don't
really know how to do Jed.
I don't know. You know how to do impressions, period.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But there was plenty of criticism to go around after the game. I mean, one of the questions that I also said that got answered in the game was we've addressed the long snapper issue in the portal so far. We've addressed the punter issue so far in the portal. I think we've got our kicker for next year. Those are the long snapper situation. I think has a lot to do with the stuff that happened this year. But you almost felt like you knew that blocked punt was coming in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think all of us collectively as a fan base were shitting our pants in the last 7 minutes of the game.
But I just mean like the special teams falling apart and almost costing us the game.
Yeah.
Just felt like, oh, this is run of the mill. This is what we were doing.
Yep.
The question that I think got answered is that there's no way Ed Foley's contract runs out on Tuesday and he doesn't have a new one in place. I think it has to stay that way.
I mean, I sure hope so. No disrespect to the guy, but I hope he is happy somewhere else next year. Because I think he's not done well with our special teams.
I think he's going to be on staff. I think he's going to be like a player, a player liaison or a local recruiting guy.
Always need somebody to wash jerseys. I get it, but still,
I feel like he's probably still got a spot on the roster somewhere, but it can't be as head of the special teams next year.
No.
Just can't. I was listening to the Average Joe's podcast this morning, and Gary Sharp was on there making a pretty good point about there's a lot of the head coach's personality and fingerprints on special teams. I think that was very true pre-2023. I don't think the modern day CEO, which is what Matt Rhule has morphed into as the season has gone on, bringing in basically a head coach for the offense, bringing in basically a head coach for the defense, bringing in a co-head coach to help head coach the defense. I mean, he's got a buffer between him and the buffer that he put in place to run the defense.
Yeah.
You got to have a full-blown guy that you can trust to just say hands off at the special teams coordinator spot. Ed Foley's not getting it done. We got to make a move there. But
really, that was the only downside of this game to me.
Special teams. Well, and the turnovers. In the first half, we had 4 possessions. 2 of them ended in a touchdown. 2 of them ended in a turnover.
The turnovers, though, and I'm not taking away from the fact that, yes, we lost those balls, but the fucking weather was so shitty.
It was bad.
Like, that throw from Raiola, to me, looked more like a throwaway that he didn't get enough out of bounds because the ball was so fucking slick.
Yeah. There were some weird ducks that he threw up that floated for a long time in that game.
And that happened on both sides of the ball. The one where Singletary should have had an interception, that ball was in the air forever.
Yeah.
I have no idea how he didn't catch that ball.
That was one of those moments I literally said it out loud when he did it. I'm like, dude, if you want to go to the NFL, you got to make that catch.
Yeah.
You're not going to get an easier catch as a DB.
I think there was like 10 seconds of hang time on that ball. Anybody
and there was nobody around.
Yeah.
Like the defender and the wide receiver were 5 yards away from him. Like, you got to make that catch, man.
And so it sucks that we had 2 turnovers, even though I might have called it in our questions.
You did.
But I almost blame that just as much on the weather as I do anything else. It was unfortunate that Ramir had the other one.
No, the other one was Emmett.
Oh, that was Ramir Johnson.
No, that was Emmett. It was Emmett that came across the middle, and honestly, that was a fumble. Like, he took a hard shot from 2 dudes. It was not just a being loosey goosey with the ball sort of a thing. He got smoked. It was a good defensive play. Understandable fumble in that situation. The duck, I don't really like it, but this is something else that I think I want to do a full-blown discussion on this at some point in the offseason. There's been a lot made of the Marcus Satterfield getting demoted mid-season, Dana Holgerson coming in, all those things. People seem to forget that we had a co-offensive coordinator the whole season leading up to this, and he happens to be the quarterback's coach. And if you go watch any of the highlight videos, any of the Rivals stuff that's out there, all of the scouting video from Dylan when he was in high school, the kid has a cannon. He also throws a laser. He throws darts downfield. He doesn't throw ducks. He doesn't throw these lofty passes. And we talked about that up until like week 7 or 8. It seemed like all season long, all we had seen are these super soft touch passes that take forever to get to a wide receiver. And weren't really putting our guys in position to be okay. And so my question, I guess, that I'm going to, like I said, I want to dive way more into this, but how much of this is like a philosophy for Dylan coaching-wise that it just isn't working? Because he's very accurate when he throws the ball hard. When he throws a lofty ball, it's a 50-50. Don't know if it's going to get there. Don't know if it's going to get over him. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't have much to say on that one. I feel like they probably worked with him on situational ball throwing, where you should throw it hard and soft, and it just quite hasn't.
Well, and every quarterback has to get there.
Yet.
But there
He's
were
a freshman. I'm not that worried about it.
Dude, just put it on him. The interception was one of those.
Yeah.
Just put it on the guy. Throw it out there.
I'm not that worried about it.
The only other thought that Jed sent in was freshman Donovan Jones playing 55 snaps today in the secondary and having the 4th best PFF rating on the team of the players that played 10 plus snaps. Look out in all caps. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
He played a lot of time opposite Sierra Wright at the corner spot.
Yeah.
He looked really good. I thought there were freshmen all over the field that looked amazing.
Yeah.
Willie McGinnis Jr., he looked Willis McGahee Jr., excuse me. He one of those
We're in a
Hall
different number. He was in
Famers.
a different number yesterday, wasn't he? We're in 17 yesterday.
I didn't notice. Possibly. But, I mean, you're also going to have a bunch of different numbers out there when you got freshmen that redshirt that hadn't seen the field yet.
Yep.
It's really funny. Jed sent a text during the game. He was listening on the radio, obviously, because he was working. But he said, Damon, the moment that Caleb his son got out on the field, they were like, if I'm Boston College, I am attacking him right now. It's like, way to give him a little tough love there, Damon.
He's correct.
Yeah,
he's
go
after the young guys.
He's
if you
not
can.
wrong, but at the same point, like there was a lot of going after the young guys that could have been done yesterday that wasn't going to be successful.
No. Also, Boston College just isn't that much of a throwing team. We talked about that before.
Yeah, but they threw for 300 yards.
Yeah, they had to. They couldn't run the ball.
The other a point that I saw a guy make on Twitter last night was, yeah, they threw for 301 yards, but over 100 of them were in screenplays that just we couldn't get to the guy.
Yeah. They loved the screen pass.
They did a really, really nice job setting up and blocking on the screenplays.
But we also, we stacked the box because we expected him to run, and it worked. So they had to get creative.
Fully true.
I don't fault them for that at all, and I don't really fault the defense for doing what they should have, which is stopping the run first.
And that was another thing that I think got answered in this game was, can John Butler call this defense? I thought he did a great job.
Be just fine.
There were moments in the game where we've come to expect, especially this year, not necessarily so much in 23, but this year there were moments where often it was a situation where you should be dialing up some pressure, and we just weren't. And we did that. I think that everybody that's talked about John Butler and his more of a direct and aggressive style potentially being a positive in this defense. I think we saw some of that yesterday.
Yeah. John Butler's defense gave up 6 points in this game.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, and you think about the touchdown that came off of a punt block.
That's what I mean. I'm not counting
punt
that
block
one.
that got him down to the 6. Yeah. So
it got him down to the 2.
Or down to the 2. Yeah, you're right. It was fun. It was a good game. The weather looked miserable, but honestly, the Emmett Johnson stick that he put their best tackler on the fucking skates sideways.
Yeah.
That juke move in the back. They were talking all pregame. Nobody's going to be able to juke people in this. It's all going to be very straightforward downhill. It's like
was no problem for Emmett Johnson.
Emmett Johnson has got a different set of legs on him than most people.
The way he is able to change direction and stop on a dime makes me very excited.
I think it's
for
all
next
TikTok
season.
dancing.
Hey, do whatever you got to do.
I don't know if you've seen his TikTok.
I can't have TikTok.
If anybody has TikTok, go find Emmett Johnson. When he does lives, he's usually playing video games and it's kind of boring. But his actual videos are freaking hilarious because it's him and like a lot of Ja'Cory Barney, a lot of guys just dancing. Like they were dancing on the subway. And
sounds like 20-year-olds these days. I don't know what to tell you.
But hey, they always talked about linemen need to take ballet. Whatever this pop dancing thing that Emmett Johnson's doing, it's helping his feet for sure.
I'll take your word for it since I can't go see it myself.
Yeah. There you go, Emmett. You need to get on Facebook Reels or something, man.
Something the government allows.
There you go. Anything else you wanted to talk about in this game? Other than that, we can jump into the questions.
Did you cover everything you wanted? You sent me earlier.
I think so. I mean,
front seven's gonna be okay. Absolutely. John Butler's gonna be okay. Absolutely. Who else did you think needed some more time here? Dylan Raiola, obviously, I'm excited to see what he looks like in year 2.
I think the Raiola Holgerson thing is just going to continue to get better. Just with Dylan Raiola, like we talked about in the preview for this show, with him just getting more time of, okay, this is probably what Dan is going to call next, or this is why Dan is calling this. Yeah. He doesn't seem uncomfortable like he did the whole season previous.
No,
he seems like he trusts the play calls that are coming in, and we're just going to get out here and play ball.
He isn't out there arguing with Dan Holgerson like he was with Satterfield.
There's a lot less checking 2 or 3 times at the line. It's get lined up. Let's go run the offense. Let's go.
I will say one other thing is it didn't seem like he struggled so much with going through his progressions.
He was finding fourth, fifth guys.
Once he saw somebody, he pulled the trigger instead of continuing to look like he did in a few games over the season where it's like, if you'd have just pulled the trigger, it would have been fine.
Great example of that was when Heinrich Haarberg was out there. He was pushed out to the slot. The point that I heard made earlier was that Heinrich Haarberg's got that great vision that you're not going to get in a lot of tight ends because he's a former quarterback. He can recognize coverages. He did happen to recognize zone on a play, sat down right in the middle of a weak spot in the zone. Dylan found him right away. There seemed to be a good connection there going between him and Dylan Raiola. I don't remember what the over-under was that we set for the questions. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I think seeing Heinrich Haarberg get involved in the offense is not this move to tight end is not going to be a gadgety thing. This is real.
There is one thing that I will say for him. I hope he puts on some weight.
I don't know that
he's such a little guy to be playing tight end. He's tall, yes, but he's not thick.
He's not. He is thick.
You look at him compared to Fedoni, and it's a very considerable difference.
The only reason Fedoni looks thick is because he hunches every time he catches the ball.
I don't care.
He's not a thick dude.
And he's bigger. He's bigger than Heinrich is for sure.
Not much. I bet
there's a 40-pound difference between those two guys.
We'd have to go dig into the numbers on that. I feel like that's a stretch, but as far as how he played and how he looked, I thought he looked pretty natural out there at the tight end, and it didn't like I said, it wasn't gadgety. He wasn't just out there faking it.
Yeah,
he wasn't just out there screwing around. He was really playing ball. He was throwing good blocks. I thought Fedoni led the team in targets or co-led the team in targets. I thought he did a nice job for what he is, but somebody said earlier today he looks like a battleship trying to turn around in a hallway. And now I can't unsee it because that's what he looks like. He's developed this and it's funny because Lindenmeyer actually, when he caught that ball and looked up and realized that he actually had to run, because normally Lindenmeyer's catching a ball and falling to the ground. He's not used to having to run. But they both kind of have this just hunch to protect the ball and try and run thing, and they don't run naturally. I don't remember that being the way Fedoni used to play, but that's the way he is now. And it's kind of funny, but the battleship trying to turn around in a hallway thing, I was like, I can't unsee it because the guy can't move. He has no side to side movement now that he used to have. It's crazy.
Just so we're clear, I looked it all up. Lindenmeyer and Fedoni are both over 30 pounds heavier than Heinrich Haarberg is. So
Lindenmeyer for sure. He's a thick boy.
He and Fedoni are the same weight.
I think if you put them on a scale right now, they're closer than what you're finding on the internet. I could be wrong.
Google's never wrong. Especially when it's making me prove my point correctly.
That's pretty much all I had. The only other thing that I'll bring up, I guess, is the Ramir Johnson stuff. Obviously, everybody likes Ramir. Obviously, everybody is excited about the fact that he won the MVP and all those things. But if you didn't catch it yet, Matt Rhule told the story, kind of shedding a little bit more light on everything that was going on with him this year. It wasn't necessarily just injuries. It's tearjerker. It's tough to even talk about or think about, but the dude lost his mom in November. Didn't want to make a thing of it, didn't want anybody outside of the team to know about it, didn't want anybody on the team to know about it other than a couple people, it sounded like. And kind of gave permission for Rhule to tell that story in the post-game press conference, and he got choked up. It was tough to watch, but it's a great story. One of those, Jed made the comment this morning. He's like, I really wish I could be there to talk about this because that dude instantly vaulted to the top 5 or 6 all-time Huskers for me in that story. And it's crazy to think about for a guy that really didn't do that much from a production standpoint his whole career. But he was also wildly misused for 5
super misused, seasons. And then when he wasn't, he was injured. It was just a series of very unfortunate things that had happened. But great kid. I was glad that he and 2 other. He and Emmett and who's the other one that Quentin Ives?
Quentin Ives. Yeah, we had 3 running backs to get the touchdowns.
I got a good touchdown in. It was. Great game all around.
That little swing pass out to Emmett Johnson for that last touchdown, that was pretty.
Yeah.
I think we need to see a lot more of that next year. I was really shocked to see, not shocked to see, but I can't get any questions right. The fact that I called Ramir getting MVP of the game, I got to throw that out there. That should count for 5 points for me.
Yeah.
Not that it would catch me up even to Jed, but good segue into the questions. As far as the questions for this game goes, I already know I didn't do poorly, and I haven't even looked at them yet. Jed sent these over. Who will have more sacks, Nebraska or Boston College? It was a really good thing that Ezeraku did not play. It's kind of crazy. Of all, we were one of the first preview shows that came out last week, and nobody was talking. I don't know if this one show that I happened to catch that was a professional gambling show talking about this game was the only people that knew Ezeraku wasn't going to play. Or
well, they didn't technically announce it until Friday.
No, Bill O'Brien announced it in the press conference. Nobody knew for sure, but these guys were talking about it like they had insider information that he was definitely not even with the team. Turns out that's the way it was. Because if you caught Bill O'Brien's part of the press conference, he was pissed as shit when he was asked about it too. He was like, yeah, this is cool. I'd really rather talk about the players that are going to choose to play in this game.
I didn't see that.
He was very direct about it and was kind of a dick. It was hilarious. He's like, yeah, I feel like I got to say something nice
kind of
about
a
it.
Dick anyway.
Oh God, the tirade that he threw on the sideline which I agreed that he had every right to be upset.
The late
Dylan
hit on Dylan Raiola. Yeah.
Dylan slid late. If you're already in the act of getting ready to hit him, you got to follow through.
No,
you're
I agree with that
pull
too.
up on that.
And it wasn't an egregious hit either. It was just a regular hit.
No, and honestly, I think it was maybe a little bit of show, but the fire in Dylan to get up and get in his face about it, kind of talk shit.
It was
I thought it was hilarious.
It was totally just for show.
But I don't know if it is. Again, this is another thing that he imitates Mahomes at such a level where it's all calm, cool, and collected until he wants to be fiery and say some shit. And if you go watch, this is something that I never knew about Mahomes until I watched that quarterback special on Netflix that he was on with Kirk Cousins and Marcus Mariota, who doesn't even play quarterback anymore. I saw a totally different side of Mahomes, which is that it's this I'm always going to look like the nice guy who's super cool, everything's smooth, we're all good, but I'm going to talk some mad fucking shit in your face, and a lot of people aren't going to know about it. That was one of those moments that I felt like, oh, there's a little fire coming out here. And you combine that with the way that Ben Scott was getting so fired up towards the end of that game.
Oh, yeah.
When Ramir Johnson picked up that first, which Ben Scott, cool on Ramir, you never stopped your feet from churning, but Ben Scott slid off of his block and basically took Ramir Johnson and pushed him through for another 5 yards.
It was perfect.
When it looked like he was getting stopped. They almost blew the whistle there. But to pick up that first down, and then Ben Scott was just he looked like a wide receiver throwing the first down sign. He was 10 yards downfield throwing this thing. It was so funny. But like I said, into the questions here, who'll have more sacks? Nebraska obviously won that. Boston College only got one in, even though Dylan was under some pretty serious duress for a good majority of the day. I have to imagine that it would have been a different feel if the field wouldn't have been a sloppy ass mess, but us getting the 3 I thought was good. Seeing Ty get that one was really exciting.
Yep.
Boston College, question 2.
Did he not put in who won what?
Oh, everyone took Nebraska. Sorry. Boston College takeaways, -1.5. Boston College had 1 fumble and 1 interception. Having those early touchdowns by Nebraska were a little scary. Early turnovers by Nebraska were a little scary. Interesting note there. Jed and Matt took the over, obviously. BJ did not. I'm shocked that I'm losing. Who will have the better third down conversion percentage? Nebraska was 3 for 11 for 27.2%. Boston College was 6 for 12 for 50. Both teams only converting 1 third down each in the second half. Everyone took Nebraska. Everyone's a loser. Boston College yards per carry, excuse me. Over under 4. 26 carries for 47 yards is 1.8 per carry. Again, the defense looked the exact same.
Outside of giving up, that was the one thing on the third downs, going back just a little bit. Why the fuck did we keep giving them huge chunk plays on third downs?
The only thing
one thing that was concerning to me.
The only thing that I can think in that situation is, and it's been talked about a little bit, how this defense this year, they coached a little more of the bend, don't break. And there was much more of a play for, they knew Boston College was going to go for it on 4th down in this game. That's, first of all, Boston College went for it on 4th down in top 10 percentile of the entire country all season long. But then you factor in the fact that it's also a bowl game. You're going to see more stuff like that. You're going to see more trick plays like we did on the punt and the fake field goal, which was terrible. The punt was executed perfectly, but the field goal, that was rough. But I thought they were almost playing as if they thought it was more of a second down type. And then it was almost like the play calls themselves were just tricking them. I don't know how you were seeing it, but that was kind of the way I took it. It just felt like, oh, we can give up a few yards here.
Yeah, it just seemed like they
were
weren't
on like 3rd and 14.
That's what I mean.
Picked up, and like
it seemed like they just weren't being aware of the actual yardage.
Yeah, it was a little bit strange. But 3rd downs is something we've struggled with for 2 seasons now. That's something I think it's gonna change a little bit next year. You're gonna see a little bit more of a pro style approach to this, where it's not gonna be necessarily worried about, hey, we've got to do everything we possibly can and not give up 1 yard on the ground running the ball. It's going to be more focused on, hey, bend, don't break. We can let them have, 3 or 4 yards on a play, but we're going to stop them on 3rd down. It's also going to look different having so much more athletic people playing on defense.
The 5 third downs specifically, I was going back to look at what Jed had sent us. Those 5 third downs that they converted in the first half were all for 20+ yards.
It's crazy.
Ridiculous. That's the one thing that was confusing to me.
It is, but stopping them 0 for 4 on 4th down, that's incredible. Being able to hold that up was a big deal. Question number 4. Oh, everyone took Nebraska on that, by the way. So everybody was wrong again. Question number 4, yards per carry. Jed was the only one dumb enough, as he put it, to take the over. So Jed thought we were going to give a whole bunch of yards, which, to be fair, he also didn't know it was going to be a fucking soupy-ass mess out there. Boston College would have run the ball a lot more if it wasn't.
Well, and if they could have. They weren't getting it done.
Yeah.
What was the yardage?
They gave a total of 47 yards.
What was the question?
1.8. Oh, it was 4. Over under 4 yards per carry. And then we gave up 1.8. Question number 5, Heinrich Harburg targets over or under 1.5. 1 target and 1 catch towards the end of the first quarter, and then nothing. Heinrich did play 30 of the 64 snaps. Jed and Matt took the under. I really thought he was going to get targeted more than that. For some reason in my brain, he did get targeted more than that, but I'm also not thinking of anything other than that 1 catch that I already talked about. God damn it. Question number 6, who will have more total yards, Emmett or Ramir? Emmett had 96 yards. Ramir had 69 yards. Nice. Matt and the fans took Emmett. So, hey, I got one there. Dylan Raiola, completion percentage, 69. Nice percent. He went 23 for 31, 74.1%. Second best completion percentage behind 76.7 versus Colorado, the little sister to the west. Jed was, again, the only one dumb enough to pick the under. These are his words, not mine.
Jed, you're an idiot.
Question number 8, who will have more tackles? Vincent Shavers, Willis McGahee, Riley Van Poppel. I already gave that one away earlier in the game. Riley Van Poppel only had 1 tackle, but I really did think he played pretty efficiently. McGahee had 4 and Shavers had 6. Shavers, in my opinion, was the MVP of the defense, probably right next to Ty, because Ty really did affect the quarterback a lot. Jed wanted to take Shavers, but figured they all should be represented, so he took Van Poppel.
Whatever. You can't do that after the
fact. I do remember him saying it though.
I don't
in the
care.
Minute. He was like, if you guys are gonna go split, Matt and the fans took Shavers.
Yeah, just the smart ones, right, guys?
The totals, Matt continues to dominate. BJ went 3 for 5. Matt went 7. Jesus Christ, you only missed on 1 question. Jed went 3 and 5, and the fans went 5 and 2. Nice job, guys.
Almost good enough.
We are going to be putting out several shows over the next couple weeks. We're still going to continue to try and get at least 1 show out per week, all off season long. But look out for our big season recap coming up here this next week. We've got to have some time to put some numbers together, put some content together for that. Then we'll be getting some different guests coming through. Going to do a fun playoff show. We've got, for those of you that remember, Vegas, who's been on here a couple different times. He's the Notre Dame fan, Husker hater. He's actually went to the Notre Dame playoff game in Notre Dame, and then he's also headed to the one on New Year's Eve. So We're going to get him in here after whenever Notre Dame finishes their run and he's not going to playoff games. Talk a little bit of college football playoff. Yeah, we'll be getting it on for you guys. Remember, make sure you like, subscribe, share, follow.
Now begins the sad months without Husker football.
And this may be the most unbelievable night in Cornhusker football history.